Hi guys, and welcome to another review, and this time of something which is well, I haven't seen a single review, so I think I can confidently say that I'm the first person that will be reviewing the HAKUGEI Midnight and the HAKUGEI Mist. These are two of three IEMs that they have. I actually also have the third one. Unfortunately, the third one had a small problem, uh, partially due to my fault, I guess. But that is being resolved, and once I get that one, I will also review it. But anyway, HAKUGEI Midnight, their 1+4, let's say it's top of the line. HAKUGEI Mist, 1+2. Um, Currently, these two IMs have prices which are being re-evaluated, and let me just say that for the price of the Midnight will be around $170, give or take, and the price of the Mist will be around $160, give or take. So these prices that I'm giving you are revised prices and have nothing to do with the prices that you might eventually find on AliExpress or other platforms supporting them. Unboxing experience, and this is in fact an experience. This box comes inside of this bag with the HAKUGEI symbol, and then the box itself is all wood. You can see that time was spent in making this box what it is. It opens up. Straight away you're greeted by the two IEMs over there. You take this out. Underneath comes a cable and a set of tips. I'm not going to lie and say that I would have liked to see more tips. Yes, I would have liked to see more tips. The cable, I'll show you the cable. The cable is a HAKUGEI cable, as to be expected. I mean, HAKUGEI is a first and foremost a cable manufacturer. These are the Midnights, as you can see. Beautiful, beautiful IEM. I mean, really, really nice. This is, I mean, a seriously nice IEM. All metal shell, as you can see. Okay, all metal shell. Okay. Got a nice weight to them. They feel nice and sturdy. The cable is this cloth braided cable, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is actually similar or equal to the cable that we find in the C Audio Bravery. So, cable wise, as I would be expecting, no need to change or swap. I would have liked to see a few more tips. I'm not going to deny it. It would have been nice. The same thing in terms of the unboxing for the Mist. The only difference is they bring these tips from Misodiko. Okay, these hybrid foam and silicone tips. The IM itself is this resin shell item. Very small IM. Okay, you can see inside the driver it's got two BAs and a dynamic. It's about an 8mm dynamic, while the Midnight uses a 9.2mm dynamic and 4 BAs. I actually do not know what the 4 BAs are, so I'm not gonna say, but I know that the dynamic there is a 9.2mm, and yeah, it's an 8mm dynamic. Let's see if we can maybe zoom. There we go. That's not too bad. Oh, no, yes. Are we gonna zoom? We're not gonna zoom. Oops, sorry about that. So 8mm dynamic, 2 BAs as well. You can see the crossover, just see the crossover network over there. It's got a vent. Let me see if I can actually excuse me, my apologies. There we go. So it's got a vent over there, as you can see. Okay. All right. And as I was saying, really small IEM. I mean, let me just unzoom this slightly so you can actually see. It's a very small IEM as compared to the Midnight. But funny enough, both of them have excellent fit. I've got absolutely no complaints with regards to the fit. They fit very nice. I guess I've got lucky ears, I'm saying. As for the tips, that was I'm not going to say a nightmare, but it was difficult to find tips that would work properly, not because of the fit, but because of the sound signature that they both have. Well, I'll start with the Midnight first. The Midnight is a neutral bright, but it's and I've graphed it, and if you guys want, I can afterwards also show you the graph. It's neutral bright, but it's really forward in the mids and in the vocals. So I'm assuming this is not a wrong or a correct tuning. This is what the tuner of the IEM decided to do. And I'm guessing that he was wanting to focus on primarily on people that like vocals and like mids and like acoustic music with a lot of details in that area, and that's why he tuned it that way. Personally, I'm not gonna lie, that is not my cup of tea, and I did a mod which, well, everybody is doing mods now, so I did a mod which worked perfectly for me, which is I removed the nozzle filter that it brings. Okay, there we go. See, I removed this tip. Okay, I removed the nozzle filter that it brings, and installed a tension filter, as you can see. Okay, and that completely changed the whole profile of the sound. It made it, at least for me and what I like. Sorry, I'm just putting the tip back on. I made it much more balanced, much more coherent. Everything just came together nicely. That's basically what I like, is a more balanced out tuning, not focused on vocals or mids or anything per se, and that's what I got. So I just did that mod, something which again I say a lot of people have been doing lately with the IMs. I mean, I know for example in the Olina, by doing the dual damper mod, or actually then taking that all out altogether and putting a Tenstrom Tanya filter, which is what I've used here, it makes it an absolute beast. From what I understand, I'm waiting on a second set to actually do that mod and then compare it to the double damper mod that I have on my own Olina currently. But from what I've seen from fellow reviewers and other people, is doing the Tenstrom Tanya mod on the Olina really makes it really brings out the most that the Olina can offer. And again, that's exactly what I did. I did the Tenstrom mod here on the HAKUGEI Midnight, and that really made a huge difference. I mean, really big difference. If in standard format the forwardness in the 1.5 to 6-7K area was so much that it actually almost felt like it had no bass, or the bass was very tame. By doing that mod, it just brings everything together in a totally different manner. You can now feel the bass presence, although having said that, this is not a bass monster IEM. If what you want is a bass head, no. This is still maintains its neutral bright signature, but now with the tension filter it becomes less bright, and it warms up the lower frequencies a little bit. So it, in my opinion, and for me at least, it just makes it an altogether more pleasing package. As for the mist, the signature is again on the bright side, but it's a bright warm signature, and I didn't have to do anything. It was perfect. And you will understand now when I say which IEMs I compared these two with. You will understand. It was perfect, very nice, very very clean, very coherent sounding IEM. Now, let's kind of break this down then a little bit more. Bass on here on the Midnight, clean, detailed. It's got. How can I put this? If we are going to talk about what its original price was going to be, then I would say that no, the quality of the bass is not what it should be, and it required a little bit more polish. We are talking about an IM which initially was going to cost around $400, give or take, and at that price you really have a lot of competition. At $170, give or take, it still has a lot of competition. It's a very competitive market. That price range up to $200, but its performance is now more matching with what you are actually paying. So bass, it's nice and clean. It's got decent speed, decent texture. It's nice. Mids can be, because it's been tuned to be bright, can occasionally be a little bit too much on the female voices, but overall it's pleasant. I've got no real complaints after the mod, mind you. With instruments and overall tonality and timbre being as well instruments are well played, and that tonality and that timbre of those and voices and music reproduction in general is again decent, fine. There's really nothing that I can falter in it. In the technicalities department, that's where I will fault it slightly. I was expecting more soundstage. It's a little bit of a closed soundstage. I was expecting slightly better imaging again, and detailed retrieval. It's a hit or miss. It will depend on what you're listening to. It will do it well or not well. So it's in the technical capabilities of this IM that I think that I was left a little bit underwhelmed, and I was expecting a little bit more. Overall, I do consider the sound of the HAKUGEI Midnight decent enough to justify this new price. Although, having said that, there is, as I've mentioned before, very stiff competition. And the IM that I've actually chosen to compare it with, and I could have chosen, sorry about that, I could have chosen a lot more IMs, but the IM that I chose is an IM which is one of my favorite OnePlus 4s. And it's from GS Audio. I'm talking about the GD5. And the GD5 in a nutshell is the GD3A, which is probably one of their better IMs. It's basically a GD3A with slight improvements here or there. Okay, it's a beautiful IM, as you guys can see. This is actually, I asked for this custom appearance with this different faceplate. Oops, I'm trying to focus this, but there we go. I actually asked for this custom faceplate and the transparent shell. This is not how the GD5 comes. OnePlus 4, like I mentioned, and I've got a review on it, so if you guys want to know more details, it's just a question of listening to it. But when I compare the GD5 to the Midnight, and we are talking about IMs of around the same price, the GD5 is costing about $165, give or take. That's about $170, so we might take it the same price. For me, for my personal taste, for my music choice, the GD5 is a better IM, and it's a better IM. Why? Because there is not that incoherency in the way that the sound is not balanced out with regards to that midsection. So there's no excessive brightness here, basically, to make it easier to understand. There's no excessive brightness. Everything is very coherent. You can't, everything sounds as one single driver. There's no sounding, oh, this is coming from the DD, this is coming from the BAs. No, everything is very much put together nicely, which is not something that happens in the midnight. Midnight, you do notice that due to that excessive brightness sometimes, you notice, okay, this is the DD and now here are the BAs playing, okay? Having said that, and again I repeat, I'm not saying that this is a bad or good thing. It is what it is. It is what the tuner decided that he wanted to make the midnight be and sound like. And I'm sure there will be people that will love the midnight in its stock format without even the 10-string filter. People that really like that bright sound with really good for vocals, and I'm sure they will love this. I personally, because of my musical taste, like I said, I prefer something which is more equal, more balanced out, and in that aspect the GD5 is better. The GD5 besides that offers superior technical capabilities over the midnight. So in this situation, comparing these two, costing the same and being basically the same, orientation in terms of driver configuration and so on and so forth, I personally would choose the GD5. But it's like I just said earlier. I'm sure there will be people that will enjoy the midnight in what the midnight brings to the table. In terms of quality of construction, one is a resin shell, the other one is a metal shell. Standard cable, yes, the standard cable here is superior. The overall packaging appearance is superior in the HAKUGEI. Look, it's, if possible and if you have the chance, listen to them. I would say there's nothing like really listening to them. Keeping in mind that for me, modified as I have here with the 10-string filter, this is a completely different IM than what the stock midnight is, and much more versatile in what it can play. Okay, in stock format, I think that it's not a very versatile IM, especially with the music that I like listening to. In that aspect, again, the versatility and the capability of playing various music genres of the GD5 is quite impressive. Okay, I think that basically covers the midnight. As for the Mist, I took two IEMs here. I took the GS Audio SD3, okay, which is priced at around the same price. We're talking the Mist will be, the revised price will be about $160. The SD3, which is a 1+2 as well, is about 140. And I brought what is the dark horse of GS Audio, and the one that it should not be this good. Basically, you would expect this to be better than the GD3A, and no, the reality and the truth, and I'm sorry if I will maybe offend somebody that has the SD3, but the GD3A is a superior IM to the SD3. It is. Not only in terms of what it offers above 6-7K, there's a lot more detail than there is on the SD3. The SD3 becomes dark past 8-9, very dark. But also, the fact that the SD3 has more energy centered around the 4, 5, 6K energy, the 6K area, makes female voices sound very forward, and there can be some sibilance and some aggressiveness, which is not very welcomed. How does the Mist compare to the GD3A and to the SD3? Well, the Mist, let me just grab a chat. The Mist is sporting a smaller driver, sporting an 8mm driver as opposed to the 10mm driver on the other two. You notice straight away that although the bass quality is there, there's less bass quantity, and up to a certain volume level, it all sounds, it's pretty matched, let's put it that way. But then when you really start pushing the volume up, the SD3 is the first one that loses because it starts becoming aggressive too much and loses its composure. The GD3A carries on and continues all the way through, while the Mist loses out to the GD3A only in that it cannot maintain those high volume levels. Only in that. That aside, it is very similar sounding to the GD3A. It's got very much the same qualities of the GD3A in terms of bass quality, mids, vocals, female and male vocals are very nice. Even the fact that sometimes the male vocals on here can sound a little bit thin, this also suffers of the same problem, let's put it that way. Detailed retrieval is about as the same. Actually, all the technical abilities of one and the other are very, very matched, very evenly matched. Okay, then you will ask me, Acros, but then why would I go spend the money to have this as opposed to have a GD3A? Well, simple. I mean, you go and buy this because you want to have something different. That's basically it. In terms of fit, they both fit very well. I had to go for these foam tips, which are actually TRN foam tips, because with the supplied tips that it brings, it really doesn't allow, at least in my ears, allow the mist to shine. It doesn't, I'll be very honest. With silicone tips as well, I didn't find any tip that really wowed me. I didn't. The ones that got closest were the CP145s. And then just out of pure luck, I tried these TRN foam tips and they just matched very nicely. Very, very nicely. It was like, okay, these are the tips for the mist. It has to be these tips. So I would say that whoever is perhaps interested in buying this is you must keep in mind the tip selection, as always, mind you, that's the reality, is very important. You've got to make sure that you choose the right tip to really get the best out of it. And also, and this is something which applies as well to the Midnight, source. This will play well with maybe a darker sounding amp deck combination as opposed to something which is very bright. I tried it with my Megatron, I tried it with my TK2, I tried it with my Hifi Hip deck, I tried it with my NX7, and the two that sounded the best, be it with the Mist or the Midnight, were the Hifi Hip deck and the TK2. There was just a nice marrying between those two amp decks and the Mist and the Midnight, which I didn't find in the Megatron and I didn't find in the NX7. That obviously doesn't say the Megatron is bad or anything, because I mean I'm sure you've heard me praise the Megatron in many other occasions. I mean, for example, the Megatron with the GD5, killer combination, honestly. So it has nothing to do with the amps being bad or good or not. It's just a question of they match up nicely together, or they don't match up nicely together. Same thing like tips. So in conclusion, what can I say about these IEMs from HAKUGEI? Well, nice attempt. I think it's an interesting attempt from HAKUGEI to enter this market of IEMs by trying to offer something along the lines of what they want or what they perceive. Was it successful 100%? I think that with the Mist, yes. I think they've got a good IEM here. It's a good IEM. The price of $160, like I said, it's a price which you will justify maybe by the fact that you want something which is different from the rest. You want to have a product which is more exclusive, not so mainstream. That's, I think, what will be the main justification, because in terms of sound, you can get the same sound or better and save money by getting a GD3A. That's the reality. Let's be honest here, okay? As for the Midnight, I believe that the tuning that was used was perhaps too selective, making it very, very niche orientated for a specific crowd of people. And in that aspect, I consider it to be less successful than the Mist. The Mist is more versatile. Of the two, the Mist is definitely the better IEM. I'll be honest with you as well. So the Midnight is less versatile because of the tuner that was selected for it. and so less successful overall as an attempt to create a 1+4 IEM or more of a top of a line IEM or whatever you want to call it. I do believe that they have now created the basis for improvement. That's my opinion, and I think that the next ones there will definitely be improvements over these ones. I think the next ones will be more tuned along a mainstream sound that will please a wider variety of people, because at the end of the day, you know, and this is my personal opinion, mind you, when you're trying to enter a market, especially this price range market that is so competitive, if you want to stand out, yes, you can go along the lines of doing a very different tuning, but more times than none, that different tuning is so radically so radical that I don't think it's the success that really that's the successful way to do it. I think that to stand out, you have to really be able to offer something which is extremely well built, and the Midnight in that aspect is, I mean, construction is flawless. You pick them up and you know you got something in your hand. So you have to go along the lines of extra, flawless construction, good accessories package, good tuning which is versatile, and follows one of two routes. Either it's more of a Harman style tuning, or then more of a diffuse field style tuning, but done well. Okay, done well. And in this standard format here of the Midnight, I think that they may be, like I said again, they may be just focused very much on a very specific group of people. Maybe the earphone was actually tuned to the tuner's personal preference, and that is not in my opinion the wisest of choices. And yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you liked this take of mine on the HAKUGEIs. Like I said, two interesting products, well built, well constructed, slightly different tunings on either one of them, but nonetheless an interesting attempt, and successful to a certain point. I hope that the prices that I gave you are the prices that will in fact be publicized and done, because like I mentioned right in the beginning, the original prices were just a little bit too excessive to justify what these IEMs offer, because I mean, like the Mist was going to cost around $320, and at $320 you're competing against a Blessing to Dusk, and let's be honest about it, the Blessing to Dusk eats this for breakfast. That's I think, and that touches up on the one thing that I've mentioned already before in some of my reviews, and I'll just quickly mention it before I go, because it's getting now very long. I think the biggest mistake that a lot of the Chi-Fi manufacturers are doing is they don't really know their competition. They don't really study their competition, and they just launch IEMs for the sake of launching. You have to know your competition. You have to know what they are doing, so that what you do at least matches them. And then it's a question of, you like more red, or you like more green, you like more, taller, you like more short. It's exactly that. Now, to just churn out an IEM and stick a price tag on it and not know exactly what you're competing against, that you're shooting your foot there, in my opinion, because the market has become extremely competitive, and today's market is not a market like it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. You now have IEMs up to $200, which will easily compete and surpass IEMs of 4 or 5 years ago, even maybe 3 years ago, that were considered top of the line IEMs, and then the price bracket up to $500-$600 now is having quality of IEMs that were costing $1,000 and more before. So it's becoming highly competitive. And then you have these crazy flukes. You have these IMs like the GD3A, which comes out of nowhere, and you don't understand how it's possible to make something like this, or you have things like the Olina. Again, I mean, for $100, it's very difficult to find something that you can say, oh no, this is better than the Olina. No, the Olina is a fantastic IM for the $100 price bracket. The CCA CRA for $15, that thing is ridiculous. The Richo SG01, another IM that hardly anybody talks about, and it's fantastic. HE Sound Heart Mirror, that's been around for a while and people know it's good. So there's a lot of IEMs which have really established themselves as references at different price brackets and in different configurations. So, this is just a little suggestion, not an advice, it's a suggestion. If you are wanting to enter this market and make a name for yourself, make sure that you do something which is well executed, well done, and you've studied your opponents, let's put it that way, in able to obtain that goal. All right, anyway, guys, thank you very much. My apologies for being a long review, but you know me, I like talking. Take care. Bye-bye.